The pot roast smelled exactly like Mom used to make it. That was the first detail that felt wrong. Mom had always burned the edges, but this one was perfect. Too perfect. I sat at our familiar oak dining table, watching the people who called themselves my parents serve dinner with practiced smiles. "More potatoes, Emma?" Not Mom asked, her knife scraping against the ceramic plate with a sound that made my teeth ache. "I'm good," I answered, trying to keep my voice steady as I glanced at my phone under the table. Another text from my twin sister, Olivia, lit up the screen. "Don't let them know you suspect anything. Act normal. I'm 20 minutes away." 5 years. That's how long it had been since I'd sat at this table. Olivia and I were 12 when they sent us to different boarding schools. Her to Switzerland, me to Connecticut. "To give you both the best education," they'd said. But now, watching Not Dad cut his meat with mechanical precision, I wondered if there had been another reason. "How's the food, sweetheart?" Not Mom's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. They were brown, I suddenly realized. Mom's eyes had been hazel. My phone buzzed again. Check their hands. Remember the scar on Dad's thumb from the fishing accident. I casually watched Not Dad reach for his wine glass. His thumb was perfectly smooth. "Everything's delicious," I lied, pushing food around my plate. Just like I remember. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 7 times. Its sound was wrong too. Deeper. Somehow. More hollow. "Tell us more about school," Not Dad said, dabbing his mouth with a napkin. The gesture was too precise, like someone who had studied how to act human. I launched into a rehearsed story about my debate team victories, all while my mind raced through memories. The family photos on the walls looked right at first glance, but something was off. The angles, the lighting, like they'd been recreated from originals. Another text. "Found the real photos. These imposters have been planning this for years. Whatever you do, don't go upstairs after dinner." My hands started trembling. I gripped my fork tighter, remembering the last time I'd seen my real parents. It was parents' weekend at school, 3 years ago. They'd seemed distracted, worried. Mom had hugged me too tightly and whispered something I couldn't quite hear. "Your sister sends her love from Switzerland," Not Mom said, refilling my water glass. "She's doing so well at her new school." I froze. New school? I thought she was still at La Rosie. I kept my tone casual, but my heart was pounding. Not Mom and Not Dad exchanged a quick glance. Too quick. "Oh, of course," Not Mom recovered smoothly. "I meant her new advanced program there." My phone. "They don't know I left Switzerland 6 months ago." "Don't tell them." The pot roast sat heavy in my stomach. I thought about all the letters from Olivia over the years, describing her life at La Rosie. Had those been real? The phone calls with my parents. Had I been talking to these imposters all along? "Remember when we used to play that game?" I said suddenly, watching their reactions. "The one with the secret word." "Of course, sweetheart." Not Mom smiled indulgently. There had never been a secret word game. "Emma." Not Dad leaned forward. "You've barely touched your food. Are you feeling all right?" His concern sounded genuine, but there was something mechanical in his movements, like an actor who had rehearsed this scene countless times. Another text. 15 minutes. Get ready to run. Actually, I pushed back from the table. I'm feeling a bit tired. Jet lag, probably. Would it be okay if I went up to my old room? Of course. Not Mom stood too quickly. "I'll come with you." "No." I modulated my voice. "I mean, no thank you. I remember the way." Your room's different now, not Dad said. We redecorated while you were away. Let us show you the changes. My phone. DONTOUPSTARS. They've changed everything. Nothing is what you remember. Actually, I forced a yawn. Maybe I'll just sit in the living room for a while, get my bearings. They exchanged another look. Not Mom's fingers twitched, a gesture my real mother had never made. I walked to the living room, feeling their eyes on my back. The furniture was the same, but the family photos on the mantel caught my attention. In one, taken at my 10th birthday, the cake had blue frosting, but I remembered that cake being pink. My phone buzzed. Look at the window reflection. I casually glanced at the bay window. In its dark surface, I could see not Mom and not Dad in the dining room. They weren't eating anymore. They weren't even moving. Getting close. When I signal, run to the front door. I sat on the familiar leather couch, my muscles tense. Questions raced through my mind. Where were my real parents? How long had these imposters been planning this? Why now, after 5 years? Such a shame about your sister's accident, not Dad called from the dining room. My blood ran cold. Accident? At her new school, not Mom added. The one we told you about. She's recovering well, though. But my phone told a different story. They're lying. I'm fine. 10 minutes. I heard them clearing the dishes with artificial domesticity. Everything about them was an imitation. Precise but soulless. Like mannequins playing house. Emma? Not Mom appeared in the doorway. Why don't you let me show you your new room? We've made it so perfect for you. Her smile was wider now, more forced. Not Dad appeared behind her, his movements too fluid, too coordinated. In a minute, I said, pretending to check social media on my phone. Just catching up with friends. Another text. 5 minutes. They'll try to get you upstairs. Whatever you see, whatever they say, don't go. Your old room has such wonderful surprises, not Dad insisted. We've spent years preparing it. The way he said preparing made my skin crawl. I remembered something else about that last parents' weekend. Mom had slipped me a note, but my roommate had accidentally washed it with my jeans. The ink had been too smeared to read. Tell us about your friends at school. Not Mom sat beside me, too close. Her perfume was wrong. Mom had always worn vanilla, but this woman smelled like nothing at all. Oh, you know, I shrugged. The usual drama. We'd love to hear everything. Not Dad perched on the coffee table, blocking my path to the door. Every detail. My phone. 2 minutes. Get ready. Actually, I stood up. I need to use the bathroom. Use the one upstairs. Not Mom suggested too quickly. Near your new room. I prefer the downstairs one. It's being renovated, not Dad said smoothly. But I could see its door from where I stood. It looked perfectly fine. My phone vibrated. Now, several things happened at once. Headlights swept across the living room windows. A car horn blared 3 times. Our old danger signal from childhood. And the people who weren't my parents moved within human speed to block my escape. Emma dear, not Mom's voice had changed, becoming deeper, wrong. We've waited so long for you to come home. 5 years of preparation, not Dad's head tilted at an impossible angle. Don't ruin it now. I dove for the door, but not Mom's hand caught my arm. Her grip was like steel, her skin too cool. The front door burst open. Olivia stood there, but not the 12-year-old girl from my memories. My twin sister had grown up too, and she held something in her hands, our real mother's old photo album. "Get away from my sister," she commanded. The imposters moved like liquid mercury, flowing toward her. But Olivia threw the album open, and they recoiled from the photos inside. "Emma? Run!" I broke free, sprinting toward my sister. Behind us, the things that weren't our parents made sounds no human throat could produce. The truth, not Mom's voice distorted. "Show her the truth upstairs. She needs to see." Not Dad's face began to shift. "Show her what became of the real ones." Olivia grabbed my hand. "Don't look back." We ran into the night, toward her waiting car. Behind us, the house, our childhood home, suddenly looked different. Older, abandoned. As we peeled away from the curb, I finally asked, "Our real parents?" Olivia's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "That's what I spent 5 years discovering. And Emma." She glanced at me. "You're not going to believe where this story really begins." The headlights cut through the darkness as Olivia drove us away from what used to be our home. Her hands were steady on the wheel, but I could see the tension in her jaw, the same way our real mother used to clench her teeth when she was worried. "Start from the beginning," I said, still shaking from our encounter. "What happened after they sent us away?" Olivia glanced in the rearview mirror for the 100th time. It wasn't random, us being split up. They needed us separated to implement their plan. She reached into the back seat and handed me a worn leather journal. This was Mom's. I found it hidden in a safety deposit box in Switzerland. The key was sewn into my uniform when they sent me away. I opened the journal, recognizing our mother's distinctive handwriting. August 15, 2018. "They're getting closer. James thinks we can protect the girls by separating them, but I'm not sure. The replacements are getting better at imitation. Yesterday, I saw one that could perfectly mimic human behavior for hours. But they can't replicate memories. That's why we have to preserve the truth." "Replacements?" I looked at Olivia. "What are they?" She took a sharp turn onto the highway. "Some kind of biomechanical entities. They've been infiltrating families for years. Mom and Dad, they were investigating them. Our parents were investigators." "Not exactly." Olivia pulled into an abandoned gas station. "They were scientists, working on something called Project Mirror at Horizon Labs. That's where it all started." She killed the engine and pulled out the photo album she'd used to repel the imposters. Under the flickering station lights, she showed me what looked like normal family photos. But when she shined a UV light on them, hidden text appeared in the margins. Mom and Dad encoded their research into our family photos. Dates, locations, evidence, all hidden in plain sight. Those things back there? They wanted the album because it proves they exist. I studied a Christmas photo from when we were 10. Under the UV light, coordinates, and a string of numbers appeared around the tree. But why take over our family? Why wait 5 years? Olivia's expression darkened. Because of what Mom and Dad discovered. The replacements aren't just random infiltrators. They're part of something bigger. Something that's been growing under our society for decades. She pulled out a tablet and showed me security footage from Horizon Labs. Our parents, in white lab coats, were examining what looked like liquid metal under a microscope. The date stamp showed 3 years ago. This was their last known location, Olivia explained. They found a way to detect the replacements. Created a compound that could destabilize their molecular structure. But then, the footage showed our parents running from the lab, alarms blaring. The next frame was static. I spent 2 years tracing their movements after that night, Olivia continued. They went underground, leaving us clues. The boarding schools weren't for education. They were hiding us in plain sight. But why didn't they tell us? To protect us. The less we knew, the safer we were. But they left breadcrumbs, hoping we'd figure it out when we were ready. A car passed the station, and we both tensed. But it drove on. The replacements needed us back home to complete their infiltration, Olivia explained. They can take human form, but they can't maintain it without harvesting certain biological markers from the original family members. My stomach lurched. You mean? They need us to become permanent versions of our parents. That's why they waited until we were 18. Adult DNA is more stable for their process. I thought about not Mom's too perfect pot roast, not Dad's mechanical movements. How many families have they taken? Hundreds, maybe thousands. They target scientists, politicians, anyone with influence. Mom and Dad were getting close to exposing everything. Olivia started the car again, but they made one mistake. They thought we were just two ordinary teenage girls. They didn't know Mom and Dad had been preparing us our whole lives. The twin games, I realized. All those weird memory exercises they made us do growing up. Training, Olivia nodded. They were teaching us to spot inconsistencies, to trust our instincts about what's real and what's artificial. We pulled onto a back road, trees crowding the edges of the pavement. Where are we going? To the one place Mom and Dad knew the replacements couldn't follow. Their fail-safe location. Olivia handed me another photo, our family at a lake house I didn't recognize. Look closely. Under UV light, more hidden text appeared. If everything fails, bring them to where it began. The water reveals their true nature. The replacements can't maintain their form in deep water, Olivia explained. Something about the pressure and mineral content disrupts their molecular stability. That lake house is where Mom and Dad first discovered what they were dealing with. Are they? I couldn't finish the question. I don't know, Olivia admitted. But the research they hid, it's all there. Everything needed to expose the truth and stop the replacements. We just have to reach it first. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. They've mobilized. Full integration protocol activated. You have 12 hours. What does that mean? I asked. It means they're done playing house. The replacements are moving to their endgame. Olivia pressed the accelerator. They're going to replace every member of every family they've targeted. All at once. How do we stop them? With this, she patted a metal briefcase on the back seat. Mom and Dad's compound. I found their backup lab in Switzerland. Spent 6 months recreating their formula. Another text. Check the news. I pulled up a news site on my phone. Headlines reported sudden personality changes in prominent families. Children reporting their parents acting strange. Mass confusion at a boarding school in Connecticut, my school. They're not even trying to hide anymore, Olivia said grimly. They think they've won. What about our friends? Our classmates? Most of them are safe. I managed to warn the schools through anonymous tips. But the replacements are adapting faster than we expected. That's why they broke pattern tonight. Tried to take us both at once. The road curved around a mountain, and in the distance, I saw water gleaming under the moon. Almost there, Olivia said. Once we reach the lake house, we can broadcast the evidence. Mom and Dad left a setup that can't be traced or blocked. And the compound? Aerosolized form. One release in the right location will destabilize every replacement within a 100-mile radius. Show the world what they really are. Her phone buzzed again. Too late. Check your childhood markers. Olivia's hands tightened on the wheel. Emma, your left ankle. The birthmark. Check it. I pulled up my pant leg, feeling sick. The heart-shaped birthmark we'd both been born with was gone. It's starting, Olivia whispered. The biological rewriting. We have less time than I thought. The lake house appeared ahead, dark and waiting. But as we approached, we saw a car already parked in the drive. No, Olivia breathed. Two figures stood on the porch. In the headlights, they looked exactly like our real parents. Ready? Olivia reached for the briefcase. I touched the space where my birthmark should have been. Ready. Whatever waited in that lake house, truth, trap, or something in between, we had no choice but to face it. The replacements had taken our family, our home, and now they were trying to take our very identity. But they'd forgotten one thing. The bond between twins goes deeper than DNA. And some things can't be replicated, no matter how perfect the imitation. Olivia killed the headlights. Remember what Mom always said? I nodded, completing the phrase we'd grown up hearing. The truth shows itself in reflections. We stepped out of the car toward whatever waited in the darkness. Behind us, more headlights appeared on the road, the replacements coming to finish what they'd started. But we had one advantage they didn't. We knew who we really were. And sometimes, that's the most powerful weapon of all. The figures on the porch looked exactly like our parents from 5 years ago. Not a day older, not a single detail wrong. That's what gave them away. Real people age, change, carry the weight of time in their faces. These versions were preserved in amber, perfect copies of our last clear memories. Curls, not Mom called out, her voice carrying across the dark lawn. We've been waiting so long. Olivia gripped the briefcase tighter. Emma, no matter what happens, get to the basement. The broadcast equipment is hidden behind the water heater. How do you know? She pointed to the house's reflection in the lake. Under the moonlight, the mirror image showed a different building, older, more weathered, with a faint blue glow emanating from below. The water shows truth, she whispered. Remember? Not Dad stepped forward, his movements too smooth. We understand everything now. Why you ran. What your sister's been planning. But it's not what you think. More headlights appeared on the road behind us. 3 black SUVs, their engines humming with an unnatural pitch. They're hurting us inside, Olivia observed. Fine, let's give them what they want. We walked toward the porch, gravel crunching under our feet. Up close, the imposters were even more unsettling. Every detail of our parents perfectly recreated. But something fundamental was missing behind their eyes. Your mother and father, not Mom said softly. They didn't understand what we were offering. Evolution, perfection, freedom from decay. Where are they? I demanded. Our real parents. Not Dad's smile was practiced, empty. Safe. Preserved. Like we'll preserve you. The SUVs pulled up behind our car, blocking the exit. Men in dark suits emerge, all identical, moving with the same mechanical grace. The basement, Olivia muttered. No matter what. Not Mom opened the front door. Let us show you what evolution looks like. Inside, the lake house was a study in careful staging. Family photos on the walls, all doctored to remove the UV hidden messages. Furniture arranged to mirror our old home. Even the air smelled like Mom's vanilla perfume. Your parents' research was brilliant, not Dad said, leading us toward the living room. They discovered our existence by accident, but instead of embracing the future, they tried to destroy it. Through the windows, I could see the lake's surface rippling. In its reflection, the house looked different. Cables running through walls, hidden equipment glowing beneath floorboards. Why families? Olivia asked, playing for time as we inched toward the basement door. Why not just take over individuals? Because humanity's strength lies in its bonds. Not, Mom explained. Family units, emotional connections, shared memories. These are what we needed to understand, to perfect. The suited men filed in behind us, forming a perimeter. One of them carried a silver briefcase that hummed faintly. The integration process is already beginning. Not, Dad gestured to my ankle, where the birthmark had vanished. Your biological markers are aligning with our evolutionary template. You mean you're rewriting our DNA, Olivia corrected, turning us into you. Making you better. Not, Mom smiled. Perfect. In the lake's reflection, I saw movement in the basement, a flash of familiar figures. Real figures. Olivia saw it too. Now, she threw the briefcase at the suited men while I bolted for the basement door. Not, Mom moved with impossible speed, but Olivia was ready. She pulled a water bottle from her jacket and splashed it in their faces. The imposters recoiled, their features rippling like disturbed mercury. In that moment of chaos, we raced down the basement stairs, slamming the door behind us. Mom? Dad? I called into the darkness. A flashlight beam cut through the gloom. And there they were, our real parents, aged 5 years, faces lined with worry and determination. They stood among a maze of equipment, monitors showing surveillance feeds from across the country. Emma. Mom's voice cracked. Olivia, you made it. Dad was already barricading the door. Did you bring the compound? They took the briefcase, Olivia said, but they don't know about the second batch. She pulled a small vial from her boot, pale blue liquid catching the flashlight beam. The formula? Mom asked. Recreated exactly, but they're already starting the mass integration. Hundreds of families. Thousands, Dad corrected, pointing to a monitor. They're accelerating their timeline. The boarding schools were supposed to keep you safe until we could finish the countermeasure. Above us, footsteps moved with mechanical precision. Why didn't you tell us? I asked. All those years. Because they can access memories. Mom explained, moving to a complex device humming in the corner. If you knew the truth, they could have extracted it. We had to let you discover it naturally. Trust your instincts. The twin games, Olivia realized. The memory exercises. Training, Dad nodded. To strengthen the one thing they can't replicate. The natural bond between twins. That's why they had to separate you. Your connection was interfering with their ability to create perfect copies. The basement door shuddered under impact. Mom typed rapidly on a keyboard. The broadcast is ready. Once we release the evidence, they won't be able to hide anymore. But what? The countermeasure needs to be released at the exact moment of the broadcast. The compound destabilizes their molecular structure, but only when they're fully manifested. They're trying to manifest now, I said, touching my ankle. The biological rewriting. No, Mom gripped my shoulders. They're not rewriting you. They're trying to write themselves into you. There's a difference. Another impact rattled the door. The lake, Dad said urgently. The mineral content strengthens the compound's effect. If we can get them into the water, they'll follow us. Olivia understood. They have to. Their integration process requires close proximity. Mom handed her the compound. The dock. There's a dispersal device hidden in the third plank. It'll release the compound into the water and air simultaneously. What about the broadcast? We'll handle it, Dad said, moving to the equipment. Get to the dock. No matter what you see, what they become, keep moving. The door splintered. One more thing. Mom pulled us close. The integration goes both ways. When they try to write themselves into you, they accidentally absorb pieces of who you really are. Your memories, your bond. It weakens them, Dad finished. Use it. The door burst open. Not Mom and not Dad stood at the top of the stairs, their forms rippling like heat waves. Now, Mom hit a button, and hidden panels in the basement walls slid open, revealing escape tunnels. The dock. Olivia grabbed my hand. Don't let go. We ran into the tunnel as the imposters poured down the stairs. Behind us, our parents began broadcasting the truth to every screen in the country. The tunnel emerged near the lake's edge. Moonlight reflected off the water, showing us what was really there. Dozens of suited figures emerging from the trees, their forms shifting between human and something else. Remember when we were 10? Olivia said as we ran toward the dock. The secret language we made up. I nodded, understanding. The imposters might have our memories, but they couldn't access the deep connections, the private moments that made us who we were. Tela mira sora. I whispered our made-up words for trust me, sister. Olivia squeezed my hand. Sora velanox. Always and forever. We translated together. We reached the dock as the figures closed in. Not Mom and not Dad in front, their features becoming less human with each step. The integration cannot be stopped. They spoke in unison. Evolution is inevitable. Olivia found the hidden panel in the dock. Maybe, but not your version of it. She loaded the compound into the dispersal device as the imposters stepped onto the dock. Their reflections in the water showed their true forms, shifting, mercury-like beings trying desperately to hold human shape. Now, Emma. I grabbed her hand, and together we jumped into the lake. The imposters followed, compelled by their own programming to stay close to their integration targets. The last thing I saw before the compound released was our parents in the basement window, broadcasting the truth to a world that was about to learn what evolution really meant. The lake water was shockingly cold, but that wasn't what made me gasp. In the murky depths, lit by the moon above, I saw the imposters' true forms. Their human shapes melted away like wax, revealing writhing, silvery masses that pulsed with internal light. Dozens of them thrashed around us, their perfect imitations dissolving in the mineral-rich water. Olivia and I kicked deeper, our childhood swimming lessons paying off. Above us, the dispersal device released its payload, turning the lake's surface a pale blue. The compound spread like ink in water, and wherever it touched the imposters, they began to crystallize. Through the chaos, I heard our parents' broadcast echoing from the house. To all families under integration protocol, the water is your ally. Their molecular structure cannot maintain cohesion in naturally occurring mineral solutions. What you're seeing on your screens is not a hoax. Not Mom and not Dad's forms reached for us, their silver essence fragmenting. But in their dissolving faces, I saw something unexpected. Fear. Real human fear. Mom was right. They had absorbed pieces of us, and those genuine emotions were now tearing them apart from within. Tela mira sora, Olivia signaled underwater, pointing to the dock's reflection. In it, I saw what she meant. The crystallized imposters were becoming transparent, revealing decades of stolen memories inside them. Like time capsules of all the families they tried to replace, each frozen form held fragments of true human connection they could never fully replicate. We surfaced near the shore as red and blue lights filled the sky. Government vehicles, news helicopters, emergency response teams, all converging on the lake. The broadcast had worked. Emma, Olivia, our real parents ran down to the water's edge, helping us out. Look, Dad pointed to the lake. The moonlight caught the crystallized forms, now frozen like statues across the water's surface. In death, they were beautiful, monuments to the complexity of human nature they tried so desperately to duplicate. It's happening everywhere. Mom showed us her tablet. News feeds displayed similar scenes playing out across the country. Families breaking free, imposters dissolving, the truth finally emerging. The boarding schools? I asked, shivering. All students accounted for, Dad assured us. The replacements never got past the initial infiltration stage there. Olivia squeezed water from her hair. What happens now? Now, Mom said, we help everyone understand. The compound didn't just stop them, it preserved their data. Everything they learned about trying to replicate human connection. It proves what they never understood, Dad finished. That you can't manufacture family. You can't replicate love or trust or the bond between twins. Those things have to grow naturally. Emergency teams were moving in, documenting the crystallized forms. Scientists would study them for years, learning from their failed attempt to evolve humanity through imitation. Your birthmark, Olivia touched my ankle. It's back. She was right. As the integration protocol failed, our original biological markers returned. But we gained something too, an understanding of how precious genuine human connection really is. Mom, I asked, how did you know we'd figure it out? She hugged us both, her real warmth so different from her replacement's artificial perfection. Because you're our daughters, and some bonds can't be broken, only strengthened by trying to break them. Later, as the sun rose over the lake, we watched teams carefully remove the crystallized imposters. Each one would be studied, their stolen memories returned to the families they tried to replace. Their failed evolution had taught humanity an unexpected lesson about what really makes us human. Sora Velanox, Olivia murmured our childhood words. Always and forever, I replied, because in the end, that's what the replacements could never understand. Evolution isn't about achieving perfection. It's about growing, changing, and keeping your truth, even when the reflection in the water shows something impossible. And sometimes, the strongest evolution comes from simply remaining who you really are.